Donald Trump has spent his entire presidency straying and affecting himself. Now, those not familiar with the phenomenon, this is when, in an attempt to hide something, you only bring more attention to it. And I think we should rename this the Trump Epstein effect. Because although Donald Trump has tried to cover up a lot, his attempts to cover up his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein has brought more attention to the scandal than anything he could have ever imagined. But this is also taking place with Donald Trump's poor health. The cream and the goop that he smears on his hands. Caroline Levi's lying to say that he's in tip-top shape. Well, the truth is actually coming out, and it's because of BONDI, and it's only highlighting just how bad things are for Donald Trump. We are gonna get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you have not already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we can get into how Donald Trump's health crisis, along with the hospital scandal, is being blown up by BONDI, we need to see what she would not say at her hearing before we get into the leak of what she did say.
Post on September 20th, 2025, in which the president said, "We can't delay any longer, Pam, using your name. Not bringing criminal charges are killing our reputation," his words, "and credibility." And then goes on to tell you to prosecute a member of this committee, to prosecute the Attorney General of New York, and to prosecute James Comey. Do you consider that a directive to the Justice Department?
Senator Klobuchar, President Trump is the most transparent president in American history, and I don't think he said anything that he hasn't said for years.
Trump, of course, literally posted his social media telling Pam to indict Comey, quote, "Pam, we can't delay any longer. Justice must be served now, President DJT." And remember, when the U.S. Attorney for Eastern Virginia, who was appointed by Trump, right, had good conservative bona fides, Emil Bovee apparently really liked him, worked with him, when he refused to do this obviously illegal, unconstitutional, malicious act, saying there wasn't sufficient evidence of a crime and it would be an enormous transgression to prosecute someone because the president didn't like him, BONDI's DOJ forced him out, and they replaced him with a prosecutor who never prosecuted a case in her life so that she could indict Comey. A woman who, by the way, had previously been Trump's defense attorney. Just as well, Pam Bondi once defended Trump in his first impeachment trial back in 2020 before he gave her this highest legal post in the land. Bondi is in that post to do one thing and one thing only, whatever Trump wants her to do. She's not here to answer to anyone else, least of all the American people and their elected officials, as California Senator Adam Schiff pointed out in another testy exchange.
So these are just some of the questions you refuse to answer, or have answered with personal attacks on members of this committee. You were asked whether you consulted with career ethics lawyers, as you promised you would do during your nomination hearing, when you approved the president receiving a $400 million gift from the Qataris. You refused to answer that question. You were asked who or what role you may have played, or who played the role in asking that Trump's name be flagged in any of the Epstein documents gathered by the FBI. You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether Homan kept the $50,000 bribe money. You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether Homan paid taxes.
So BONDI at her Senate hearing was deny. I do not want to talk about anything. And we know that's because BONDI serves the audience of one, and that one is Donald Trump. Ultimately, BONDI is talking all of her instruction from Donald Trump. It's the first time in history that a president has had an AGB just a direct extension of whatever they want. Of course, this is what Donald Trump accused Joe Biden of. But Merrick Garland is too incompetent to have actually done his job, not done what Joe Biden wanted, but done his job and put Donald Trump behind bars because he is a criminal. But BONDI has not given Donald Trump really the clean slate, the perfect record, the no bad publicity. It's been a lot of bad publicity, of course, around Epstein. But Donald Trump has wanted much more out of BONDI to go after Donald Trump's political opponents. And he told her to do so in a Truth Social post that a lot of people speculated was simply a warning to BONDI. But no, what we believe that its DM is being made clear by an admission, and that is BONDI's fault. That is blowing up Donald Trump's health scandal in more ways than one. But we are gonna start with the BONDI article first. White House officials admit Trump's public screed against BONDI was supposed to be a private message. White House officials confirmed that a wild social media post by Donald Trump was intended to be directed to Attorney General BONDI. The Wall Street Journal reported on Wednesday last month. Of course, Trump posted a screen on Truth Social and curiously began by addressing Pam Bondi. In the message, the president expressed frustration that the Doge had not yet indicted his political foes. Many suspected at the time that Trump had publicly posted the message in error, which the official said was the case. Moreover, the journal reported that Bondi was upset by the snafu, which Trump tried to make up for in a subsequent post commending her. On September 20, Trump meant to send a private message to Attorney General Pam Bondi, urging her to prosecute former FBI Director James Comey and his other favorite targets. According to U.S. officials familiar with the matter, we cannot delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and credibility, Trump wrote. Trump believed he sent the message to Bondi directly, addressing it to Pam, and was surprised to learn it was public. The official said Bondi grew upset, and it might be the reason that this leak has become public. So Donald Trump is so out of it that he did not know he was sending what was supposed to be a private message to Pam Bondi to the entire world via Truth Social. And it took an ad telling him that because Pam Bondi was pissed and because they allowed this to get out for us to know now that that was the case. Of course, back then I had speculated that this was a DM. I thought it was a DM. Now we know it was supposed to be a DM. But this is bringing a lot of attention, obviously, to Trump's decline, which has only been made worse by the fact that his doctor visit, his annual checkup is coming up. And there's a reason why it's not so great for Trump. Trump traveling to Walter Reed on Friday for checkup and to meet with troops. Donald Trump is expected to travel to Walter Reed National Military Medical Center on Friday for his early checkup. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said in a statement nothing that he would also have a planned meeting with troops. Trump's visit to Walter Reed comes just a month after the president received what the White House called the annual physical examination on April 11. This is interesting because that April announcement was the White House using a disgraced doctor to declare Trump healthy. The White House is watching for Donald Trump's health using a disgraced doctor who gave up his full-time medical license and was stripped of his military rank after a series of scandals. It being the White House issued a statement in the name of Ronnie Jackson and not that of an actual White House physician. Jackson is now a mega loyalist member of the House of Representatives. So Donald Trump has his actual annual physical coming up. Even though his supposed annual physical, he was perfectly fine. Now, of course, that physical was given out by a fake doctor, a mega stooge, who can no longer practice medicine because of their scandals and screw-ups while they were practicing. And that is who we have to trust with Donald Trump's medical reports. Yeah, I do not think so. This hospital visit is becoming big news, especially to people like myself who actually care to investigate and talk about Donald Trump's health, while the mainstream media seems focused on anything else. But this is important. Donald Trump has worked tirelessly to cover up his cognitive and physical decline, and it seems like the press just wants to go along with it. I feel like Lawrence O'Donnell and I are the only people talking about how Donald Trump laterally conducted an interview with Jack Tapper over fucking text. Are you serious? Are you serious? And it's not that he did an interview over text because he was just so on the go and so busy. Megha likes to say that Donald Trump, more than any president in history, he loves talking to the press. He is with the press all the time. So why could not he sit down with Jack? And Jack, what the fuck is wrong with you? Tapper said on air. There were many questions the president did not answer. And he said, waiting to hear back from you soon. Donald Trump loved kisses. Hi Jack, maybe do your job and tell us what the president. Or really, let's be real here. Tell us what Stephen Miller was not willing to answer in this text interview. It is insane that we do not know that it is a journalistic malpractice. It is a complete failure, Jack Tapper. You are getting walked all over. But again, this is what Donald Trump thinks he can do. This is what Mike Johnson thinks he can do. Not just with Donald Trump and his health, cause of course. Everyone's gonna say he's in tip-top shape. But Mike is also has Donald Trump wants him to hiding the Epstein files. And he's doing it by refusing to swear in a duly elected member of Congress who won her district with like 70-80% of the vote. And Cherry's Hayes, thank God, someone is give it some attention that I think you should pay attention to right here.
She has already said, Alita Grijalva, that she will sign onto that bipartisan discharge petition that would force the House to vote on the full release of the Epstein files once the number of signatures on that petition reaches the magical number of 218. Now, listen close. Right now, that petition has 217 signatures, which includes 4 Republicans. But that number can still shrink for now. You see, according to the House rules, quote, members may add or remove their names until a petition has obtained 218 signatures. If a discharge petition reaches this threshold, a majority of the House's 435 members, the list of names is frozen, printed in the congressional record, and the discharge motion is entered in the House Journal. In other words, right now, because the Epstein discharge petition is just one singular signature short of the big threshold, people can take their names off it. They can change their minds. Right now, Johnson can pressure the 4 Republican signers to do just that. He has time to do it as long as he keeps Adelita Grijalva out of Congress.
I am gonna be so real with you all right now. I have friends who work in the Jeffries office for Leader Jeffries, who I am now begging, and they are gonna pull it together. And we saw some great clips of Democrats' Robert Garcia team. Fantastic, but talking about Adelita Grifova, I am begging them, and I think that they are gonna put it together. They are working on right now. So if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around at the end, drop a blue heart in the comments, and until next time, I will see you soon.